Consciously, saw your video on the gender pay gap theory, so let's put some actual facts in it, shall we? When you quote sources that neglect to mention any of the variable differences between men and women in the workforce, let alone compare people that are at the same job, of course you're going to get 80 cents on the dollar. Now let's talk about some of those variables. For instance, women are more likely to take time off from work, such as paid time off, sick leave, paternity leave, and they're more likely to exit the workforce for up to 6 months to a year at a time. Women also have a tendency to work less physical and less life-threatening jobs as men do. That's why we account for 93% of the deaths in the workforce every year. Now take into consideration that most women have maternal instincts, so they have a tendency to gravitate towards humanitarian-style jobs. Problem with that is engineering degrees pay a lot more than nursing degrees. Oh, and with your intersectionality bit, the most badass supervisor I had doing flowback was a gay black woman. Made the same money as the guys. But do me a favor, stop quoting EPI. They put mansplaining in the titles.
I love when I'm challenged on things I talk about. Our student of analysis today is the music brother Jason. I'ma show him why that song that he sang in his last video about the gender wage pay gap was whack. Jason's first point about the gender gap. Of course women are paid cents on a dollar compared to men. They get more time off, which leads me to my first argument, the motherhood penalty. See, though it takes a man and a woman to make a child, we see that women are penalized for parenting, something that men don't have to experience, hence illustrating discrimination in the economic system. Music brother, your point about time off illustrates my argument. Because women take more time off, it is believed they should be paid less. And Jason, I know you don't know no better when you say that women are more likely to be nurses than to be engineers, but let's talk about it. Research over me search. Even if you look at the gender wage gap in terms of engineering or STEM, we still see it's prevalent. Certain occupations are valued less because they are or become women dominated. Hence the devaluing of feminine labor. Women of color are paid even less on a dollar compared to white women. So you tokenizing in terms of intersectionality, your black gay boss, stop playing.
Oh, Lily. That first talking point about the motherhood penalty, they're not penalized for being mothers, they're penalized for taking an excessive amount of time off. If you don't work, you don't get paid. That's just one of the drawbacks of having children and taking time off to have said children. And with two-parent households, since when did it become a problem for a mother to make the decision to take time off to rear the children while the father goes to work? No one said it's a bad thing, it's just a thing with a mother and a father in a household. I'm sure there's plenty of examples of tokenized fathers staying at home to rear children while the mother goes to her higher-paying career. That's just not the societal standard. Oh, and engineers making more money than nurses has nothing at all to do with women dominating the field. It has everything to do with an engineer creating more financial income for a business than nurses do. Oh, and I didn't tokenize my gay black boss. It wasn't intersectionality, it's just her being a badass. But nice insult.
Music brother Jason, this video is being dedicated to the black gay woman that you tried to tokenize with my tidbit about intersectionality, like you said. Let Lily school you on some argumentative shit because you obviously know what you're talking about. When it comes to the motherhood penalty, this literally illustrates how there's a gender wage pay gap because it justifies women being paid less because they take more time off. Well, if they don't work, they don't eat consciously. You are literally using the desire of motherhood to justify all women being paid less. Some women don't want to be mothers, man. According to Forbes, motherhood penalty is when women see a significant reduction in earnings after every subsequent child, something that men don't experience. Jason, even if you believe women are more likely to be nurses than engineers, the gender pay gap still exists in engineering. Research, not me search, how the gender gap permeates science and engineering. And that little slick shit you said about variables, everyone in the graphs I showed compared men and women that had the same education, the same experience in the same industry. Stop playing with me, sir. Stop.